Hey, this is Jeff, and welcome back to the no-kill run of The Pit. Last time Luz got caught trying to sneak in, and all her equipment was confiscated. But it's not the first time she was thrust into a hostile environment virtually defenseless, so we'll just have to make do. Speaking of which, I didn't notice until I was editing last week, but over here in the room beside Kai's slop stand, there was a prompt to interact with the broken TV. Kind of embarrassing, because I was literally in the middle of saying there's nothing in this room at the time. Which got me to wondering if there were any other hidden stashes I didn't know about. And some combination of Luz's psychic intuition and me looking in the GAC turned up two more. Back here in the dead end, where I said the only interesting thing is that you can see the entrance to the mill, there's a vent on the wall with some supplies hidden inside. Blood pack is better than you might think, since Vance showed us the way of the vampire. And there's one more straight across from the door to the mill. Behind the burned-out bus, there's a fire hydrant. 3 stim packs, nice. Anyway, Werner said we're supposed to talk to Medea about freeing the slaves, so let's do that.
All right, we can talk now, but we shouldn't take too long. They saw you come in here, so they'll come looking for you if you take too long. I have a plan for getting you into Asher's palace, but we need to wait. In the meantime, you're going to have to blend in.
Well, we are still at full health despite being beaten unconscious at the gate, so thanks for helping me out back there.
Someone needed to. I'm sure you noticed that the guards don't take kindly to newcomers. You're going to need to look busy or they'll sniff you out pretty quickly. And if they get too close, you don't look like you belong here. So I'm going to send you out to do a job that will keep you away from the guards.
I didn't come here to work. I came here to save you all.
Yeah, and right now this is what you need to do to help us. You're not really going to be much use if the guards figure out who you are and stake you out for the trogs, are you?
So what's the catch?
Well, the area is full of trogs.
What is that? Some kind of fish?
You're either an idiot or a smartass. Either way, I don't think it's funny. They're what most of us hope we never become, but the contamination gets to everyone. For most people, it's some form of cancer. Sometimes harmless, sometimes not. For others, the contamination drives them insane. If it doesn't kill them, it changes them. They become animals, deformed and inhuman. It's not pretty. They're everywhere and they kill on sight.
Well, I wasn't being a smartass, but I think I can handle it.
If you need a weapon, check with Marco in the mill. He's been making some of our tools into weapons. You might even be able to find a gun on one of the dead bosses out in the Steelyard. Oh, what was that?
What's going on in here, Medea? Who is this scab?
Nothing, sir. I was just telling this new worker about the job the foreman posted.
Oh, yeah? So she's the one that's going out to the Steelyard, huh?
Yes, sir. I told her what she needs to do. She knows. 10 ingots as fast as she can.
Well, then. I hope you also said goodbye. All right, playtime's over. Get to work, grinders.
Asher up there in his palace and us down here in the muck.
Yeah, about that. Life is obviously a nightmare for the slaves, but your place is nicer than what most people in the capital wasteland have. Dirty water. I'll take any healing items I can find at this point. I think there's some even better stuff on her desk.
Well, it's home, I guess. You see how they make us live?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. How come you get to sit around in comparative luxury instead of being forced to salvage scrap metal out in the contamination? If you were captured from someplace on par with Tenpenny Tower, you might think this was a downgrade, but she claims she was born here. Which brings up another point. Werner says the longer you're exposed, the worse your condition gets. And they both say they were born here, but neither one of them has any visible symptoms. It's not a smoking gun because there are too many variables, but it definitely suggests that they both have ulterior motives for wanting to trigger a revolt.
What is it, Grinder?
Hold on. There's Millie. We definitely want to talk to her.
Have you seen Wild Bill around?
Who's Wild Bill?
Bill's a friend of mine, a very dear friend. We've worked the mill together for a long time. Last week we were forced to choose someone to gather ingots from the Steelyard. Bill volunteered. He didn't want anyone to have to die out there, but he's a survivor. He can't be dead. You look like you can handle yourself. Could you look for him and bring him back?
Sure, I'll help out.
Thank you so much. Just be careful out there. Bill would never forgive himself if someone got hurt looking for him.
I'll be careful. See ya.
Good luck.
Anyway, what I was saying, if some people have more natural resistance than others, and physical symptoms correlate with mental symptoms, then maybe they held important positions just because they were more sane and competent than average. But without doing a detailed head count, there doesn't seem to be a major disparity between the slaves and the slavers when it comes to the percentage of people with obvious mutations. So there's just no way to be sure if Medea and Werner were privileged because they're in better shape, or if they're in better shape because they were privileged. And here's the steel mill. The mill was a stunning set piece the first time I saw it, and honestly, the lighting, the architecture, the working machinery, it's still all a really cool departure from the capital wasteland where even the industrial settings are mostly abandoned ruins. Let's have a look around before we get on with gathering ingots.
Not now, they'll see us. Only if we stick together. All right, I'm in. Whatever you need, whenever you need, I'll be ready. Fucking A, I knew you had it in you. Okay. Bring it on. When it's time.
I don't know how much of that you could hear with all the noise, but preparations for an uprising seem to be well underway. And there's usually a snitch called Brand who works on that platform. I've seen him go missing before, but I never knew why, so thanks to the comments for pointing out the reason and the solution. If you buy the slaves from Ramsey and then let them go, the game despawns Brand. Turns out it's not a bug per se, there's a script that explicitly checks for that condition and disables it. Maybe they assumed a Goody Two-Shoes character wouldn't be interested in being a stool pigeon, in which case they were wrong. In fact, I think despawning Brand if you free the slaves back in the Capital Wasteland kind of undermines one of the DLC's key themes. You know, when you get to the slaver camp, you're probably swimming in caps and equipped with your optimal loadout so you can afford to be generous. Now you're in real trouble. What would you do to survive? Anyway, there's a mod that fixes it, which I cleverly forgot to enable before I started playing, so I'll do that after we talk to Marco.
Hey, not so loud. The bosses can't see what I'm up to over here.
What are you doing?
Making weapons. Lots of them. There's something coming, and soon. So, I take the crap we find out in the yard, and some of the tools we use, and I make them into stuff we can fight the bosses with.
The auto axe he gives you isn't great, but it's better than nothing, and there are much better variants you can find later and repair with this one. Luz obviously doesn't need a weapon, but she does like to collect souvenirs. Can you help me out?
Yeah. You're the one Medea told me about. Werner sent you, right? I can help you out. Take this. It's called an auto axe. Nice, huh? I make them out of the old car parts the breakers drag in from the city. Do what you can with it. Just be careful around the bosses. Make a wrong move, and you're done.
Now, since we're on this side of the mill, I might as well show you the first PAM feature for the pit. There's an injured slave out by the furnaces, and if you try to talk to him, you have a few options, one of which is to put him out of his misery. In the vanilla game, that doesn't bump up your kill count, but with the mod, it does. With the proper application of medicine, this man's injuries could be lessened enough that he could be put back to work, but not completely cured. The only way to end his suffering is to end his life. Luz obviously isn't going to do that, but the other options aren't much better. And as I've pointed out before, Luce is a pacifist, but that doesn't necessarily make her a good person. As long as he's injured, that's one less set of hands propping up the slaver regime. And it's arguably crueler to patch him up just enough to go back to work anyway. So, while her medicine skill is high enough, we're gonna do nothing.
What the? You there! What are you doing?
There's an area upstairs where the slaves sleep and eat, but I think we're locked out until a bit later in the quest. Might as well check it out just in case I'm wrong and we can scrounge some food and water.
Shut up, goddammit!
Nah, that's it over there. Alright, Brand should be fixed now. The Fallout 3 unofficial patch also fixes him, but I don't have it installed because I've never been able to get the Fallout script extender to run on this PC, and the unofficial patch requires it. There's another mod, Brand Fix, which doesn't, so that's what I'm using. None of this is required for a no-kill run. With the stealth suit, we probably could have picked the lock on the slave pen and still remained hidden when the slavers aggroed. Or if we did get detected, just grab the slave outfit and spam stimpaks until we got away. But I didn't realize that at the time, and there's a PAM feature related to Brand, so I am using the mod.
You're new, aren't you? Are you here from the Erie Stretch? The Capital Wasteland? Ronto? Where's home?
Why do you want to know?
Well, since you might be able to help me, I'll let you in on a little secret. The slaves are always planning all sorts of things. I find out what's going on and let the bosses know, and they let me shrug off some of the work detail. Good deal, huh? If you hear anything, you should let me know.
Wait.
So, what have you heard?
Narking on Marco gets him killed, and there was a suggestion in the comments to make that bump up your kill count if you have strict accountability mode enabled, which I did implement, but Luce isn't going to throw anybody under the bus without good reason. Same goes for Medea, although nothing bad happens if you snitch on her. But given what happened at the train yard, they already know this. Werner is trying to free the slaves.
That figures. Must be why the bosses hate him so much. Here are a couple things. Thanks for your help.
Hold on.
So, what have you heard?
Luce certainly isn't going to admit she's helping Werner, but she does have really high medicine skill. Saying she came to help might draw the attention of precisely the people she's trying to reach. I'm here to find a cure for the mutations.
Oh. Oh? A cure? That is very interesting. I'll be sure to note that. Here's a little something that I found. Make good use of it.
So, some XP, a few more stim packs, bit of karma management, and the bosses don't know anything more than they knew before. Totally worth it. And I guess I can't put it off any longer, so let's go out to the Steelyard and collect some ingots.
So you're the lucky scab gathering ingots for me today, huh?
Yep, that's me.
Good to see a little enthusiasm for once. Well, follow me.
Something wrong with his skin texture. Weird.
So, Steelyard duty, huh? Who'd you piss off to get that death sentence? See that fella up there? You'll be seeing lots of those. And if you survive them, you'll probably run into those crazies that live up on the blast furnace. Tell you what, why don't you do me a favor and get killed close to the door? That way, I don't have to walk so far to loot your corpse, eh? Here's the door. Get out there and grab some ingots. Don't come back without at least 10. Turn them into me and I'll see if I can slip a little something your way.
And indeed he will. He gives you a unique reward for every 10 you turn in, and some of them can be absolute game changers for specialized builds with the right skills and perks. And right outside the door, we have the first 2 ingots beside a dead slave. Forgive a shameless plug, but this is where both the sneak and detection analysis and the recent leveled enemy analysis might pay off. Or turn out to be a monumental waste of time. We shall see. Anyway, Luz is level 17, which means the Steelyard will be mostly basic Trogs and Trog brutes, and only a small handful marked as bosses will be Trog savages. But the player level when any given enemy type starts spawning is completely unrelated to its own actual level. Basic Trogs are level 6, brutes are level 9, and even savages are only level 12, which means we have an enormous level advantage when it comes to detection. The downside is the Steelyard is an exterior, which gives them a big advantage. So as much as possible, we only want to be moving around at night. And over here, there's a scripted scene that introduces Trogs.
Billy! It's me! Your brother, John. You remember me, don't you, Billy?
Don't think he does, John.
Billy?
I'd put a little pep in my step if I were you, man. Well, there he goes.
Help me!
Anyway, what I was saying, even without the stealth suit, sneaking 100 and silent running should keep us. Oh, so much for that theory. It'll be harder to get back to hidden without the stealth suit, too. Okay, slight correction. Sneak 100 and silent running should keep us fairly safe as long as I remember not to just strut around in the open like I think I'm invisible. Use cover, watch for enemy line of sight, all that good stuff the stealth suit made me too lazy to bother with. Can we make that jump without... Not if I missed the jump key. There are 4 ingots in those dumpsters, but we might have to come back for them later if grabbing them requires breaking stealth. Maybe if we get a running jump off the couch. Nah, we'd have to stand up. Well, there are plenty of others we can get without breaking stealth. Like right over here in the smaller dumpster beside the 3 big ones. We'll take that guy's outfit and we can probably get ours up to close to full condition. And before we go too much farther, what time is it? 3:22. Well, that's actually good because it'll be dark by the time we get anywhere really dangerous. As dark as it ever gets in the pit, anyway. It's not quite like the Sierra Madre Villa, where the lighting is the same 24 hours a day, but it doesn't get that dark here because of the light reflecting off the smog cover. Right away in some more healing chems with the ingots in this little shack. I talked a little bit last week about how my opinion of this DLC has evolved over the years. Okay, more than a little bit. But another thing my opinion has changed about is the ingots. There are 100 total in the Steelyard, and it's a stone bitch to find them all the first time because some of them are hidden in really devious places. It was kind of like Nern roots in Oblivion. I complained the whole time. But when you find the last one, it feels so good. And something I think I saw mentioned in the comments, and I agree with completely, is that it gives you an incentive to explore the area thoroughly and see some cool stuff that you might otherwise miss. Which brings up a bit of a dilemma. In a normal playthrough, there's a very good case to be made that you should collect as many as you can, or even all 100 before you turn in any to Everett. At this part of the quest, while your objective is to collect 10, they're marked as quest items, and therefore have 0 weight. As soon as you turn in the first 10, the quest item flag is removed, and they suddenly get very heavy. If there are still 90 out there at that point, it's going to take a lot of backtracking to collect them all. Especially for Luz, since her strength is only 2. On the other hand, it'd be a lot less risky once we get the stealth suit back. And while she doesn't know that's going to happen, she fully intends to make it happen. And that was number 10. Surviving in the Steelyard has taught you something about life in the pit. You will now do extra damage with the signature weapon of the slaves, the auto axe. Completely useless to Luz, but thanks. Anyway, we won't get the stealth suit back until after we turn in at least 10 ingots and make some more progress in the quest. So I'm going to try to get as many as I can right now, and if there are any that I just can't get without being detected, like the ones in the dumpster that we'll have to stand up to make the jump, we'll come back for them later with a stealth suit. There are a couple on the roof of one of those sheds, but we'll grab them in a minute. There are a few more on this level first. Going back here triggers a battle between some trogs and a group of wild men. We'll just let that play out. Whoever wins, there'll be less to sneak around when one side or the other is dead. Might have to get a little closer to kick it off.
You're dead, meat sack.
There we go. Yeah, looks like they're fighting right on top of the ingots. Well, in the meantime, there are two more back in this alley. There's also a dead slave with a combat shotgun, which would be very welcome indeed if you're not doing a no-kill run. Decent weapons are few and far between around here. I will take the ammo. 0 weight, and there's a vendor that gets unlocked a bit later in the quest. We'll repair our slave outfit with that one, and it should be up to full condition. Looks like the trogs won. The ingots are in this cart, along with more ammo and some healing supplies. Alright, time to start moving up in the world. Literally, if not figuratively. We can grab the ones off the roof, and there are two more on a collapsed tower that serves as a bridge between this area and the rooftops closer to the starting area. Right up here. If you go all the way across, you can avoid some enemies at ground level. There are more ingots down in that courtyard, but I want to grab the two off the roof of the shed before I forget. There we go. Now, the trick might be getting back up. The overhangs are just a bit too high to jump, but if we climb on some pipes, we might be able to do it without having to go all the way around again. Or use the ramp. There are a couple of trogs that hang around the courtyard, and I'm pretty sure one of them is flagged as a boss. If so, it'll be a savage, which still shouldn't be too hard to sneak around as long as it doesn't get line of sight on us. If it does, we won't have much choice but to stand up, run, and make a beeline back for the mill. But it's usually preoccupied with chowing down on some giblets. I'm more worried about its buddy, who wanders the area, and if it stumbles into us, they'll both aggro. I don't know. That's a little too tight to try to lean over its shoulder and grab the ingots. How much clearance do we have if I rub right up against the stairs? No, I don't think that's enough. I'm going to tempt fate and see if I can get him from the other side. It's as dark as it gets. Second I see caution, I'm out of here. Oh, there's one. And the other. Don't get greedy. The first aid kit is not worth it. There's his buddy. He's going the other direction, so we're good to go. There are quite a few at the bottom of this sluice, or whatever it is. The area at the bottom is heavily irradiated, and ordinarily you'd want to do this as quickly as possible, but heavy is relative. I think it's a couple rads per second, but it's not an instant death zone like the river, and we do have some rad away. Plus there's a guy with gamma shield armor. It's pretty much identical to standard metal armor from the base game, a little bit heavier but with some radiation resistance built in. It'd totally trash our sneak chance, but it's worth keeping just in case we run into a situation where damage resistance is more important than stealth. And there are a few more hidden over here among the rad barrels, along with some trogs, so we're going to have to spend more time in the rads than I'd like, but what can you do? Pick these up and skedaddle. Excuse me. Move along. Nothing to see here. Well, that's the gate we opened on the way in, so time to go up one more level. There's a staircase around the corner here that sounds like wild men. Must be fighting trogs. Anyway, about halfway up the stairs, we will find... Caution. Must be, yeah. Back off. Find a dark corner to hide in.
Cut the shit. Who is that? Get back, you monkeys. I got first call on the goods.
Well, there we go. Give them a minute to go back to their original positions and settle down. Anyway, about halfway up the stairs, we'll find Millie's friend, Wild Bill. He's already dead when you enter the area. The wild men didn't kill him. Well, they probably did, but what I mean is there's no way to save him. Take as much advantage of cover as we can. Dead wild man. Presumably killed by a trog. Or maybe they fell off a catwalk. There's a lot of verticality in this DLC, which is one thing I always liked about it and still do. It's very cool for a lot of reasons. If you have a sniper rifle, you can find a good perch and pick off a ton of enemies without them ever realizing where you are. If you don't watch where you're going, you can easily plunge to your death, but so can they. There's a dead trog right here, so I suspect that's what drew the wild men down here and killed one of them. And here we have 2 ingots and Wild Bill. Make sure to take his note from Millie. His sidearm is a unique variant of the .32 pistol. It does like 60% more damage and has a ludicrous fire rate, so if you're used to .32s being about as valuable as a paperweight, don't overlook it. Of course, everybody sing along, useless to lose except as a souvenir. Now, the next 2 ingots are in the Wildman camp at the top of the stairs, so that might be fun. Where are they? Get a little closer to the corner. Right there. Well, they spotted us at the bottom because we were standing directly under a spotlight. We could probably... Yep. Now, where's your other buddy? Not in the shack, at least. Assuming there even is another one. I don't remember if there are 2 or 3 up here, and if it's only 2, the other one's already dead. Stoves sometimes have food. Salisbury steak. Bingo. Another dead trog on the catwalk. 2. There was all kinds of excitement up here. And there's the other wild man, so there were 3. She's exactly where we need to go next. But she'll stick to the catwalk, so we can probably sneak past on the pipe. Yeah, that'll be fine. Just wait for her to go back. Perfect. Now, there's another one that patrols the stairs up to the blast furnace. Don't see anybody. That's good. I'm not going all the way up to the blast furnace right away. There are a few more ingots on the roof of this building, and some more in a sealed-off area you can only get into by jumping off it. The blast furnace itself is a maze of narrow catwalks, and depending on how I feel after we get these, I might put it off until we get the stealth suit back. Back in the far northwest corner of the roof by these dome-like machinery things. Well, there's a trog the wild men haven't noticed yet. Just be slow and careful. If this guy aggroes, we'll have every wild man on the blast furnace after us. But 4 ingots and some more stim packs. Nice. At the southeast corner, we have one of the trickiest bits to deal with. Not because of the wild man, but that doesn't help. First, you have to sneak around the end of this fence without falling off, which isn't too bad, just don't stop once you're moving. Good. And now you have to shimmy down this big pipe. I'm going to drop a save just in case this doesn't work in sneak mode. There are a handful of joints along its length that protrude just a little bit. They won't stop your fall, but they'll break it just enough that you don't take fall damage if you hug the pipe. And make sure you jump off the south end of the lower roof because the ground level below is sloped and it'd really suck to die after getting past the tricky part. And don't let your guard down now, because the icing on the cake is that when you pick up the ingots at the end of this walkway, the game spawns in a bunch of trogs behind you. This first alcove... Yes, first aid kit and some ammo, which don't spawn the trogs. I'm not going to waste my precious few lockpicks on an ammo crate, but if you're not doing a pacifist run, it'd probably be well worth it. That's not it. This'll be it. Yeah. There's also a dead slave with an auto axe. Should I take that? They're really heavy. Well, I can repair the one Marco gave us if I need to free up some carry capacity. And there are the trogs. Which, the next bunch of ingots is right below us on the next level down, so there's no point trying to sneak past them on the catwalk. We have to jump down here because they're hidden behind this machinery, and there's no way down if you go all the way to the end. There they are. Now, there are a couple in a dumpster that you can easily get to from the roof above the courtyard if you get a running jump, but I couldn't get because there's no way I'm standing up for even a second in here. But, if we crawl along the top of this fence, I think we might be able to. Just be careful on the corner. Nope. Got it. And there they are. Now, that just leaves the blast furnace. Well, not just the blast furnace, but that's the logical next place to go from here. I could have done this first and not had to backtrack, but oh, wild man. And she is coming this way. Wild woman? Whatever. Nothing to see here. These aren't the droids you're looking for. She's limping. And she's down to like 20% health or something. Must have been in a fight with trogs. Which, as always, is a good thing, because it means there's that much less that might detect us. And here's where the fun begins. There aren't many landings between here and the top, so if we run into somebody on the steps, we might have to retreat all the way to the bottom and hope there isn't another one that decided to come up behind us. It looks clear so far. Jeff, action movie rules apply. We don't say things like looks clear so far or I think we lost them out loud. And right there is why. Maybe if we get back into the corner as far as we can. Yeah, he'd have room to walk by without bumping us if he comes this far. Which it looks like he's going to. But... well, that's actually good. It means there's one less on the stairs between us and the top. We'll worry about coming back down when we get to that point. And we're almost to the platform. Then we'll have plenty of room to maneuver. Good. There are also turrets up here, but fortunately there's a terminal to disable them somewhere. Right there. We could reprogram it, but A, that'd violate the spirit of a no-kill run, and B, it might kill a wild man or two, but the rest of them would destroy it, and then they'd be alerted and away from the normal patrol routes, so they'd be even less predictable than they already are. 1 out of 9, actually good. Questions? There we go. Almost to the top. Oh, no problem. Nice view, but now is not the time for sightseeing. One more flight of steps and I think we're there. And there's a wild man right up here with us. But look at this. 2 first aid kits and the mother load of ingots. The good thing about backtracking like this is that now we don't have to go all the way down the blast furnace stairs. There's a huge conveyor belt that stretches from the mouth of the furnace across the whole width of the Steelyard, and there's another stash at the other end. So we'll just walk down that and avoid the whole stair situation. Not sure what that building is supposed to be, but that is obviously the PPG building in Highmark Place. And that might be the Cathedral of Learning. It'd be too far away to see from here in real life, but it's in the right direction, and geography is always compressed in Fallout games to cram as much interesting stuff as they can into the playable area of the map. I think we need to go down one more level to get to the conveyor belt. Oh. Okay. Guess he decided not to come up here after all. Works for me. And here's the conveyor belt. Just need to scramble down this and collect another big pile of ingots. There they are. Jumping down to the rooftop overlooking the courtyard from here without breaking your legs is tricky, but I think it's less dangerous than going back up to the blast furnace and down the stairs with all those wild men wandering around. Piece of cake. Now, there are a few more on the very bottom level where we came in, and then it's decision time. We have 66 right now. Past the building where we found ingots and Radaway right at the beginning, across the ledge overlooking the train cars, there are these girders that go over the tracks, presumably for loading and unloading trains back in the day. And on top of the middle train, 2 ingots. There are 3 more in the dumpster just to the east, but I don't think we can make that jump while sneaking. Especially if I miss the jump key again. That's okay. There are 2 more down at the very end of the area. Well, these Protectrons, by the way, you can use the terminal to activate them. They won't be hostile to the player, but they will wander the area and kill any trogs or wildmen they see. But we're doing okay without them, so live and let live. Assuming we can get around these 2. Nice. And now the decision. There are 18 ingots in the supply area, but dare I go in there without the stealth suit? That's the entrance. And the answer is, I do not so dare. A lot of it is well lit, and some of it's incredibly cramped. We have a nice even 70 to turn in Everett right now, so no. Does that add up? 70 plus 18, 7 in dumpsters that I can't make the jump without standing up, 3 in the abandoned area between the Steelyard and the mill, which we'll grab right now, is 98. I missed 2 somewhere. Great. And why do we always go into caution back there where John was trying to save Billy? I don't know. Anyway, as we're about to see, the trogs broke through the fence in the abandoned area after we came through with Everett. Which is bad, but the good news is the breach lets us get to 3 more ingots. And we're back to hidden. Even better. The hole is right here by the entrance. Oh, danger. Where is it? Right there. Out.
Well now, look who made it back. I'll take those ingots, Scab. You just get back in there and get about your business. You got a real knack for this. Here, this might help you work a little harder. Original owner can't use it anymore on account of decapitation.
Thanks, but I think a trog might have followed me in here. But while we're talking, I have a few more.
Looks good.
Got anything for me?
Guess I could spare this.
This might take a while because I have quite a few of these.
I'll just take those.
Got anything for me?
Yeah, looks like you earned it. If you're heading back out there, these ought to help you with the trogs. How about I give you some metal this time? Here, this armor was a special order for one of the hole fighters. Great against bullets, but didn't help him when he got pushed off the bridge. Bit of a weird one here. Found it from some suck out of town. Some genius got to tinkering with his laser. Polished metal barrel, a few prisms in there, and he got this lethal light show. Check out this cutting edge of fashion. Wear this armor, and everyone's gonna want to get close to you. Which just means they'll be inside your blast radius, huh? Guess you earned this. Used to belong to a desert priest. Said wearing it made him bulletproof. Of course, that didn't stand up to a little testing. But damn if it wasn't a gloriously fun time.
And that's it for now. I'm gonna go. If a trog follows me in here, you didn't see me, okay?
Careful out there.
Still in danger. Yep, it did. And he just bolted. Great. And I'm over encumbered from all the stuff he just gave us. Even better. For some reason, it's not attacking me. Yes, it is. If I can make it to the mill, there are more than enough people to kill it. Bone? Kill two birds with one stone. Use enough food and drink to get some hit points back, and that should free up enough carry capacity that we can run again. Now run away! Anybody? The guards upstairs are shooting at least. A couple slaves joined in. Thank you. Good job, everybody. Bobby pin. Nice. Now, as I was saying, there are 3 ingots in the abandoned area.
Don't you have work to do, Scab?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Aren't you supposed to be a guard? Where were you when the trog was running loose? I'm still only at half health, so let's get rid of some more crappy food. Close enough. Save the good stuff for real emergencies. Well, there's Everett. I guess I shouldn't be surprised they're actually cowards. Slavers. They're just bullies and thugs. And I think this is a good place to call it a day. Nice exciting climax and a bit of a cliffhanger for the next stage of the quest. If you bail out when I start talking about technical stuff, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you haven't already, and leave a comment if you have questions or suggestions. Well, they only weigh a pound. That's less than I remembered. Once we get the stealth suit back, we can grab the rest in one trip, no problem. Both accountability features should look somewhat familiar if you've been following this series. There's a support quest with a quest script, just like for the other DLCs. The outer conditions are local flags to further minimize the already negligible performance impact. First, we check if the injured slave is dead. If so, we check 2 things. If the player ignores him, the guards will eventually come put him out of his misery themselves, in which case this vanilla flag will be set to 1. If the player actually shot him, his Who Killed Me flag will be set to the player, and he'll already have been added to the player's kill count. So, if he's dead, and the vanilla flag is 0, and his Who Killed Me flag isn't the player, we know the player killed him with the menu, and the game doesn't bump up the kill count for that. Which it should, so unless they're using the Bug Fixes Only preset, we add 1 now. We also set the local flag to 1, so this code doesn't run anymore. If he's dead and the player didn't do it with the menu, we set the flag to -1, which also stops this code from running again, but we can easily tell what happened, just in case we want to know at some point in the future. Then we do basically the same thing for Marco. If you snitch on him, the script that kills him adds a weapon that he can't get any other way. If he's dead and he has it, we know the player snitched. The accountability for this one is separately configurable because, much like giving Colonel Autumn the wrong code, the cause and effect relationship is indirect and the player doesn't know someone is going to die as a result of their actions. So, it'll only bump up your kill count if you're using the strict accountability preset or if you enable this feature manually. And again, there's a local flag that stops this code from running anymore after he's dead, and we've done what we needed to do. This last bit stops the whole support quest from running once the DLC main quest is complete. And that's it. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.